call them cute, cuddly, or lifelong companions.
I am more than ready.
Barbara Scott is on a waiting list to get a service dog to help her manage her diabetes. When her blood sugar gets low, her four-legged friend will warn her.
Your biggest fear is not waking up the next morning.
Yeah, it is.
Barbara is counting on the Indiana Canine Assistance Network. The not-for-profit, also known as ICANN, pairs people with service animals. Just to be considered, clients must get 2 doctors' references detailing their need and ability to handle a dog. Every dog spends about 2 years learning various tasks, like opening doors, removing clothing, and helping people who've fallen.
When we send a dog out there, we essentially know it's bomb-proof. It is not going to misbehave. It is not going to bark.
Sally Irvin is ICANN's executive director.
We have a very big demand, and most service dog programs do, and we can't meet the demand.
That's one reason federal law allows individuals to train their own animals to deal with their disability. There are no training mandates. The law doesn't require proof that a service animal can perform a skill or certification that it's safe to be in public places, like a restaurant or store.
Ultimately, I have to say I would be more in favor of some checks and balances.
That's what Assistance Dogs International also wants. In December, the group, which represents not-for-profit training programs, sent a letter to the Department of Justice. It raised concerns that the current law allows businesses to sell identifications to people sight unseen, to provide owners of pet dogs access as if they were legitimate assistance dogs. The Call 6 investigators found plenty of businesses legally selling badges, IDs, and certificates for service dogs that look official, but the law does not require. While the websites warn about misusing their service, they mail certification material to us without any verification. At WorkingServiceDog.com, we paid $118 to get ID cards and this badge, which reads Registered Service Dog.
Absolutely amazing. Couple of things. This is amazing. There is no such thing as a registration for a service dog. That doesn't exist.
For $33, ServiceDogID.com mailed me a certificate that I had a trained dog, though I don't even own a dog. Owner Bruce Broyle says he counts on people to tell the truth, but he surprised me during our phone call, saying he would be okay if the government put him out of business to improve oversight of service animal rules.
If it came down to me being in business and doing what we're doing right now, or the federal government taking this over and regulating this with the full force of their law, I would much prefer that.
For more than $161, FreeMyPaws.com sent us ID cards and a vest. Company President Jason Michael says he supplies products to be used by qualified people. He adds, present federal rules are gray and leave a lot to interpretation.
I'd like to see stricter regulations.
Echoing Barbara's call, the family of Thomas Miller, who is also waiting for a service dog. They want to know exactly what is required of them, so they don't waste their time or money on things they don't need before the animal arrives.
To me, if it will affect your child, there's no such thing as overregulation.
Many people love front loaders because they're quiet, they use less water, and they look great. But consumers across the country say the washers ruin their clothes. What's more, lawyers accuse some companies of knowing about the mold problem and trying to cover it up.
I'm going to run a load and dry them and start using them.
Ruth Ogden is excited to wash towels for the first time in a long time.
Because I have a new washing machine that does not have the odor.
She has a new machine now, but around 2004 she bought a Whirlpool Duet front loader.
And that was probably a year or two after we bought the washer, we started noticing an odor in like our towels. It smelled like an old dirty dish rag.
Ruth blamed her son for years.
My son was a typical teenage slob. We all thought that the odor from him was getting into our clothes.
The family threw out hundreds of dollars worth of clothes.
I pulled the soap dispenser out, and in the back of the soap dispenser, where you normally would not look, was full of black, mildewy, mold-looking stuff.
Ruth says she tried a slew of products to try to get rid of the mold. Bleach, vinegar, ammonia, baking soda, even a Fresh, which is sold by Whirlpool, and she says nothing worked.
Whirlpool's Duet washer, like the one Ruth had, is the focus of a class action lawsuit. Lawyers for consumers allege the washers sold between 2001 and 2008 without a steam feature had serious design defects that caused mold and mildew.
The bottom line is the washers don't clean themselves properly the way a properly designed washer should clean itself.
Mark Kalos represents consumers in the class action suit against Whirlpool and alleges the company failed to warn consumers.
Going back into the early 90s, they knew they had a problem with the design.
The Call 6 investigators found similar lawsuits involving mold against other top companies, including LG, Bosch, GE, and Kenmore. This lawsuit, filed just last month against Electrolux, alleges the company concealed material facts regarding some of its Frigidaire front loaders, including, quote, defects in the stainless steel drums. Lawyers say millions of consumers could be impacted by this mold problem in their washers and not even realize it. They say people spend money trying to fix the problem, tossing clothes or buying a new machine.
A lot of the muck and mold and mildew and biological matter is accumulating behind the drum and in other places inside the washer that you couldn't see readily just by looking at the machine. So people don't immediately realize it's their washer that's the problem. They assume it's something else.
Whirlpool released a statement pointing out it produces more than 20,000 washers each day at its Ohio plant. Quote, a small minority, less than 3% of owners have reported instances of odor or mold. The false allegations being made in lawsuits about our innovative front-loading washing machines target products made before 2009 and are without merit. The plaintiff attorneys driving this litigation are hoping to collect millions of dollars in fees, even on behalf of the more than 97% of owners of these machines who are completely satisfied and have no complaints. Companies have made design improvements to their machines, and experts say the new front loaders for sale have virtually eliminated mold, with special vents in the back, hold-open doors to get air inside, and even self-cleaning cycles.
The new washing machines have put an actual cycle in, rather than just running it on a regular cycle, have put a basket clean or washer clean cycle physically into your options.
Experts say you can cut down on mold by removing damp clothes immediately, only using high-efficiency detergent, running a cleaning cycle, and leaving the door open when not in use. Ruth leaves the door open on her new machine and says if she has mold issues again, she'll buy another one. Real or fake? That's the question facing women who want a nice bag without the big price tag.
It'd be nice to have a real one, but they're really expensive.
Who wants to spend like $300 on a purse?
If you can't buy the real one, might as well buy the cheaper one.
The Call 6 investigators found many shoppers in search of a deal are heading to Facebook online yard sales to buy and sell counterfeit bags that look like Coach, Chanel, and Louis Vuitton.
Selling counterfeit items is illegal. You could go to jail.
Gary Wolf is Indy's resident agent in charge of Homeland Security investigations, the federal agency that investigates counterfeit bags. Wolf says not only is HSI seizing knockoffs from storefronts around the country, they're also monitoring websites for online transactions.
That person you're selling to could be an undercover police officer, undercover federal agent. You never know.
The U.S. Attorney's Office says many people think disclosing a bag is fake gets them off the hook. Well, it doesn't.
It's absolutely not a defense if you tell the individual, hey, this isn't real. Hey, this is a knockoff.
We took our hidden cameras into area flea markets and discount shops and had no problem buying cheap bags with designer-looking labels.
Is this Dolce & Gabbana? Is that a real bag?
But it isn't easy to find out if the bags are real or fake.
I really don't know.
Is this a real Louis Vuitton, do you know?
I wouldn't know if it was. I just don't know.
Those are Louis Vuitton?
It is not the exact one, but it is the real brand of the same kind like this. That is Louis Vuitton.
The manufacturers we contacted wouldn't tell us how to tell if a bag is genuine. They don't want counterfeiters to have that information. So we showed our footage to Wolf.
Some of it looks pretty blatant. People should be careful.
As well as the bags we bought.
It doesn't even zip very well.
Wolf told us some look fake, but the counterfeiters are getting better and better.
If I were going to arrest somebody for selling these bags, I would still have an expert come and certify to me that it's counterfeit.
The feds work with purse companies, some of which are taking on counterfeiters in the courtroom. Coach has filed more than 650 lawsuits in the last 3.5 years against people selling counterfeit Coach bags, including 17 suits in Indiana. The company monitors websites like eBay and Facebook, as well as consignment shops, a fact Betty Daniels, owner of the designer consigner, learned the hard way. In 2010, the Southside store owner received a cease and desist letter from Coach's attorney after she unknowingly sold knockoff Coach sandals to an undercover Coach buyer.
And what was your reaction when that happened?
Terrified. Daniels now takes several steps to make sure what she's selling is real, including inspecting the bag, checking with manufacturers, and having consignors sign a waiver guaranteeing the purse is real.
We're doing everything we can to sell a bag that we think and someone has guaranteed that it's authentic.
Daniels is making it her mission to educate people that counterfeit laws apply, even on Facebook.
I was pretty much amazed at how many people said, no, this is okay, I can do this. And then other people were saying, this is okay, I'm selling a fake and I'm telling everyone it's a fake, so I'm not trying to be deceiving.
The penalty for selling counterfeits is up to 10 years in prison and a $2 million fine. A former Lafayette Square mall store worker, Mamadou Diallo, is awaiting sentencing after pleading guilty to trafficking counterfeit purses. The bottom line, buying or having a knockoff is perfectly legal, but unless you know 100% that your bag is real, don't sell it. It could get you into big trouble. The flea markets and discount stores we visited for our story told us they're not intentionally breaking the law, and some told us they're not even sure if these bags are real or fake. One store told us they didn't even realize it was illegal to sell counterfeit bags. Now, the purse manufacturers say the only way to tell for sure is to buy your bag from an approved store. Coach released a statement to us, quote, Coach does not offer its merchandise for sale through individual street vendors, unauthorized retail locations, internet auctions, or private house parties.
Inside a nondescript building near downtown Anderson, the sounds of saws, planers, and sanders fill the air that's thick with the smell of sawdust. A team of craftsmen hard at work, paying close attention to every detail.
It's kind of like the final gift for that person.
Right.
And we want it to be the best that it can possibly be.
Before Jim Rogers started at C.J. Boots Casket Company, he worked as an ordained minister, so he knows the importance of that final gift. Jim's boss, Chris Boots, started this company in 1999 when he realized there was a market for high-quality custom caskets. After building his first one, he loaded it into his van and drove to area funeral homes.
And all 5 of the funeral homes offered to buy the casket from me.
More than a decade later, and the orders are rolling in for the caskets that the company jokingly says are to die for. Workers who are taught to think outside the box turn out dozens of different styles. Many are what they call craft caskets. Their latest is the Lone Star, which they debuted this month at a show in Texas. Another is named after Chris's sister Holly, who died at a young age.
We have another craft casket that is hickory, that has real hickory trim and hickory bark on the exterior of it, made from real hickory logs, has camouflaged interior in it.
Every now and then, the company is asked to create a one-of-a-kind, like when they got word a young boy was about to die from cancer.
He was a huge baseball fan. He loved the Cubs and the Yankees.
So they included sports team logos, Lego figures, and even personalized Louisville Slugger baseball bats for the casket handles. Depending on the order, workers use 9 different species of wood, from mahogany imported from Africa to maple, cherry, and walnut harvested right here in Indiana.
Indiana is actually the 3rd largest lumber producing state in the country, and most people don't know that.
In fact, 85% of the lumber used by C.J. Boots Casket Company comes from the Hoosier State.
We like to say it's Indiana hardwood being made by Indiana labor going into Indiana soil. You can't get much more Hoosier than that.
A sense of humor comes in handy in a business where signs of death linger everywhere. And no one knows that more than longtime employee Rip Denman.
People call and they say, I cannot believe your name is Rip and you're in the casket business. I say, well, it is, and it's true.
Rip, short for Ripley, has had his hand in nearly every aspect of building a casket at C.J. Boots, including signing them. one of the final steps before they're sent out the door. It's a special touch that's routinely done by a master craftsman who just happens to be named Rip.
I don't put R-I-P, I sign it RIP.